Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You've hit the spot. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Put your thinking caps on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You done dropped in at the spot. I told you this is the place where the conversation is pointed and the guests are sharp and the responses are never dull. And today we have Deborah Beatty. Yes, we do. Let me tell you, she has got a laundry list of accolades. She's a badass color mystic, an artist, an author, a mentor and coach, a life docent, and she says that she's a 9-year-old in an adult body. I'm going to ask her about all that and then some. So excited to have her. I've been waiting to talk to her and just really hear about all the things that she has been able to explore in life and share with others. So let's welcome her to the edge. How are you, Deborah?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. And hi, Brains. How you doing?
Hey. I'm excited. So tell people what planet you're from and how you show up in the world.
I'm not real sure what planet I'm from, to tell you the truth, but I'm here on Earth right now.
All right.
I show up in the world as the badass color mystic, and I'm here to provide kind of a beacon to stretch my hands down and show people that things are possible, that you don't have to take things on face value. You can start now or now. It's up to you.
You're a color mystic.
A color mystic, well, I call myself a color mystic because I work with color ray energies. I was born with a form of synesthesia, which is where sensory input comes into the body and takes a left turn on the way to the brain. I perceive people as color. It's not their aura or anything like that. It's something entirely different. And I was given to understand when I was 12 years old that this is something new, and it's up to me to bring it into the world. I have taken a lifelong observation of people that I see as a certain color. They have certain attributes. They act a certain way. Like my blues, they're very soothing to be around. They're all about clear communication. They are my talkers. They are my yackers, my storytellers. The people that are green, they like structure, they don't like change, things like that, you know.
Well,
And
what
so
color am I? And don't say
what
brown.
oh
I'm kidding.
you, my love, are a gorgeous turquoise blue.
Turquoise blue. That's good because I do love turquoise, the color. And I am to that. But you know, it was strange when you said green because green happens to be my favorite color. But another color that's very powerful in my life is purple.
Uh-huh.
And
And
when
violet.
yes, and when I meditate, that is the first color that I see is purple. And when I ask the universe, you know, I seek the light, I seek the light. The first color that always comes to me is purple. And so when I'm looking at my chakras and aligning my chakras, it really sets to where I am. And color plays such an important part in our lives. It tells so many stories. I have a friend that wears nothing but black, girl down to her panties and bras. Everything is black. And I said,
What's she afraid of?
I don't know. And they say that she lacks imagination, but she adores the color black.
What black does, since black is an absence of color,
Mm,
white is a balance of color. All colors are in white. Black is a lack of color.
hmm
And what it does is it shields what's coming from you and what's coming into you. And so when I see somebody that wears all black, the first thing I want to know is, what are they afraid of? Are
mm.
they afraid of letting themselves loose, or are they afraid of letting what's out there into them?
Wow.
And so this the color, I call it coloricity, and it's a system of 9 colors, and they all have attributes, but they don't really have that much to do with chakras. There's some compliance, but not a whole lot. and I do, birth charts and full reports and all that kind of stuff using the colors. And I also do oracle card readings because I develop my own deck. And
Now,
that's kind of fun.
okay, so now the mystic world. What do you say to the person that says it is hoo-hoo, or the person that is afraid of it? Because religious doctrine has said, through many texts, stay away from that. But if they really study the text, mystics have provided insight and information beyond the stars to these same people that proselytize and say don't do it. So again, what are they afraid of?
Exactly. And if I'm a really good judge of character. I mean, I can size people up, my color sense really helps me know how to communicate with people. When I was doing direct sales, you couldn't stop me. But the thing is that I can go as mainstream as they want. We can talk about frequencies. I mean, uh the healthcare industry, the mainstream, as non-woo-woo as you want to go, is talking about red light therapy and yellow light therapy and what it does to the body and how the red blood cells respond to it. If you look at the lasers that they're using, they're all going with the red lasers as opposed to green or yellow or purple, which are always also available. You get those pulse oximeters through COVID. We all got pulse oxes. Okay. It's red light that goes through your fingernail and measures how much hemoglobin you have. These are things. I mean, I can go as mainstream as they want. I'm 70, I'm going to be 71. And I
Shut the
have spent
front door. You are not 71.
I can show you my driver's license.
Wow.
And I have spent my whole life trying to get an understanding of how these color rays work and how they affect the people. And like I said, I have spent a lot of time doing research, and I've got
Well, everything is
bookshelves
color.
full of
Yeah,
color
everything is
energy.
color. When you do like a cardiogram, or you do a brain scan, the first thing they do is they look at the color frequencies.
Yep.
They look at the
And I
retina
mean,
in
if
the
you
eye.
look at it, prisons are painting their walls pink because it modulates the aggression. If you look around at your grocery stores, certain walls are green, certain walls are, they're a color. They're not all one color anymore like
Right.
they used.
Because that draws you to them, so
Uh-huh.
that you shop more, that you're more comfortable in that space.
Right.
I
You know,
totally get it.
and branding. I mean, there are a number of people out there that are talking about your colors with your branding, you know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Color
because they
therapy.
have psychological responses to those colors. And I
Mhm.
mean, I can go, either way. I can go as woo as they want, or
Right.
I can go mainstream, either
That's
way.
perfect. So now you're an artist as well. Tell us a little bit about your art.
Well, I pretty much started Created Life Strategies, which is my company, in 2004. And I worked and I worked and I worked to try and get coaching clients, and it didn't work. And I didn't have a really good handle on what it was I was trying to do, evidently. And it was as much growth for me as it was for anybody that I worked with. And I finally got to the point where I said, I'm done. I'm just not going to do this anymore. This is not what lights me up inside. And I decided to explore my artistic self. Now, when I was a kid, my dad was an incredible artist. I mean, I don't care what media, he was good at it. Me, I couldn't draw a straight line with a ruler, and I tried and I cried. I mean, he would buy me all these art sets and, paint by number sets and all these good things. And I would do them, and I'd work through the exercises, and still couldn't draw anything. And the funny thing was, he passed away in 1984. And I was sitting just trying to deal with the fact that my daddy was gone, because I mean, he and I were joined at the hip. And I sat there and I started doodling on a piece of paper, and I did a beautiful landscape of the park I was looking at. And it was like he left that for me. That was, he gave me that, but I wasn't able to access it till after he left. And that was what he bequeathed to me. And so for about 6 years, I played around being an artist, and I still, every day, I think it's important to do something creative every day, in addition to what I do with my words, what I do with my websites, what I do online, and my programs and everything else. I think it's important to create something artistic.
Artistic is very important because it speaks a different language.
It does.
If you have trauma, it releases trauma through the colors, through the lines, through the structure. If there is a child trying to tell a story and they don't have the words, they always use art and art therapy. If you are dealing with someone that is maybe in dementia or autism, they can really tell their story and relive or live life vicariously through artistic mediums. And that can be anything from pottery to painting to
Exactly.
paper mache.
And I tried it all.
Yeah, I'm like that too, but I tell you, I'm a crafter. I'm and
Me too.
it can be expensive.
Yeah.
It can be expensive. It's fun, I make jewelry and I'll get to the last 2 inches and run out of beads. You got to go get a whole nother strand. So
Yep.
that's great. But tell us about your book. So you've taken this great work. Let's see. Turn
Yep.
around. Put your pretty face right next to it. Wow. Disconnect your autopilot and create. Wait, will you put it down too fast for me? Okay. Disconnect your autopilot and live a creative life. Okay. So now people are running on automatic.
Yep.
And that is based upon programming, be it from outside influences, be it that negative self-talk, be it from epigenetics, generational trauma. So we are running on this hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, you're going to get an aha moment, brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be either a health scare, a loss of someone, some sort of grief. It could be a job, it could be a pet, or it could be a startling realization of something wonderful that's about to happen in your life. Maybe you're getting married. Maybe you're having a baby. Maybe you're starting a new career. But what you have to understand is you've got to pause and you've got to reset. You got to figure out where you are in this dynamic, be it good or be it bad or be it neutral.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work with people in that space?
Well, the biggest thing for me is, my signature program is walking the betrayal to badass path. And my autopilot, that kind of underlies everything that I do. Now, an autopilot is a should or an ought to that robs you of your ability to choose. And I'm all about living a life at choice. That's why I call it a created life, because you get to create it. And I work with people to help them get back in touch with what they wanted, what they desire, what they dream of.
Mm.
So many of us, the reason that I call it autopilot is, okay, we're born on autopilot, okay? And I hope that everybody can understand the difference in what I'm saying. We are born on autopilot. That's AUTO. We eat, we sleep, we're pre-programmed as infants that's all we do. We just exist. And when you're running on autopilot, you are just existing. Once you start to become more aware, then the behavioral stuff starts coming in, where you ought to do this, or you should do that, or if you want your parents to approve of you and not be telling you what to do and yelling at you and things like that. You do what you ought to do. We fall into that pattern. And so many times your autopilot, which is the OUGHTA, you're living somebody else's disappointment. That's a life that some parent or teacher or somebody planned for you that may or may not be what you desire.
Oh, wow.
And you can get back into what it is you wanted to do and why. I mean, I have a mechanism that I call your it's the shake your meaning maker machine.
Mm,
And it allows you to look at the stories that you have about your life and what's happened to you and why you do what you do, and look at them, take these major traumatic events, split out the emotion, because you look at the who, the what, the where, and the when, and you separate that from the how and the why, because you made up the how and the why. And
mhm.
if you made that up, that becomes your autopilot, and that becomes your betrayal story. Well, guess what? You made it up. You can make up a new one
Right.
that
I got you.
supports you and uplifts you and empowers you instead of victimizing you.
Wow.
Because betrayal stories always victimize.
That's deep.
They
That's
make you lesser than. And so that's what I'm all about with my created life, is living a life of your own choosing with power, passion, and possibility.
right. But it also has to have purpose. And, you have to show up and
Exactly.
you got to do the work. It's not, again, it's not an automatic.
But
So,
it's also accepting the calling. It's accepting all these things that you've ignored because maybe you wanted to please somebody. For me, I spent the first 47 years of my life trying to please a mom that had no interest in being pleased with me. Let's put it that way. She was extremely emotionally abusive. No matter what I did, I couldn't do anything right. So I became a people pleaser, and I tried, desperately, to do it. I was led to believe during those 47 years that I'd be okay in my later years. There were investments made, there was property bought, all this good stuff. And when my mom died 2 days after she passed away, the executor of her estate showed up on my doorstep and told me I had 24 hours to get out with what I could prove I had brought in 6 months ago, because I took care of her last 6 months. And I was left with $20 in my pocket and the shirt on my back. And I wound up on the streets for 3 weeks. And that's where all of this autopilot thing came from. I spent my whole life trying to be somebody that was not who I wanted to really be. And I started taking inventory, and that's what I teach my people to do. Take inventory of who you are, what you want, what you love to do, what you want to do, and what you hate to do. What are you capable of? And slowly what comes out of that is what you're here for, because we all have a divine purpose. And you get to clarify what you're here for and how to go do that.
absolutely. And I agree with what you're saying. That's very powerful. Now, you say that you are a 9-year-old in an adult body. Explain that to us.
Um, life's too long to take it seriously. Excuse my language, but shit happens, sometimes. And the I like to roll with the punches. I love to have fun, and I have fun in everything that I do. And I love if you've ever hung out with a kid, the sense of wonder, the sense of discovery, of finding out things that are mundane and everyday to those of us that are over that age. But there's still this sense of exploration and discovery and wonder. And I want to keep that wonder in my life, even at 71, where I have seen some things. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, I have seen
Oh,
some
I know,
things.
I know, I know, I know.
But I still want to keep that sense of wonder. I still want to do experiments on, hey, what happens if I do this?
Right. That childlike innocence. That is what
Exactly.
keeps things pure. That's what keeps things exciting. That is what stimulates our imagination. That's what pushes our growth and development. So I love that because I tell you, sometimes I get into my zone too, where I like to, color and,
Yep. Oh,
just,
right now it's watercolors. I'm going crazy for watercolors.
well, watercolors is not my friend because I don't know if I use too much water.
Mine either.
Yeah, you gotta you really have to have a technique for watercolors because they rain. So let's ask some fun questions of you before we conclude this interview. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, Deborah, what appliance would you be?
Ooh, I would definitely be the stove.
Would you? Why?
Yep. Well, because I like to get hot.
Ah,
Um, I like to, it's the possibility. I mean, I am here, as a stove, I'm here to be used to create something magnificent
mhm.
or something just basic that will help them feed their bodies or whatever it is, the potential that I have as a piece of equipment. I'm not a fridge, I don't just hold on to things.
Yeah,
I want to be part of the making.
I get it. And you can regulate the temperature.
Absolutely.
Now me, I want to be the refrigerator because I just want to chill. I just want to keep it cool. I just want to chill.
Well, I still haven't figured out what I want to be if I grow up.
That's right, because that childlike innocence. What are three of your guilty pleasures? I mean, when you are just outside of painting, we know that, and the art, but just whimsical things. Is it eating chocolate? Is it playing tennis? Is it shooting pool? What do you like to do?
Oh, well, guilty pleasures. Um,
This is
yes,
a PG
chocolate.
show.
Yes, chocolate. Paranormal romance books on Kindle.
Oh.
And getting down and talking to people on a really deep level with people that I have no idea who they are. Bump into strangers at the gym or the pool or, whatever, and starting some really deep conversations. That is, yeah, definitely a guilty pleasure.
What would you tell a 25-year-old Deborah Beatty?
If I met her today, I would tell her to chill out and stop taking herself so seriously because it's all going to work out.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Um, if you were a flower in the garden, what flower would you be?
I think I'd be, what are they called? A peony. I think they're
You know what?
beautiful.
When you said that, I was thinking, I said, she's a peony. I love them. So I was turned on to them. They weren't my particular favorite flower because, but when my mother passed away, my daughter's boyfriend came over and brought me, this was the first thing that I got. And these peonies they turned my life around. They were so beautiful and they're very expensive too.
Well, I've got a huge bush out in front of my house. And so when they bloom, they're just magnificent.
They are
Now,
gorgeous.
other flowers that I really enjoy are like anthuriums and protea, because I was raised in the tropics and, I'm used to island flowers and, bird of paradise. I mean, I love anthuriums because they're so with me with my 9-year-old because I feel like I can stick my tongue out at everybody.
That's funny. And in closing, what do you want your legacy to be, Deborah?
I want, when I finally decide to go, I want to leave a hole. I want to be missed. And I want people to say, she made a difference. She gave everything that she had and she made a difference.
It's beautiful. I love that. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you, how to work with you, and how to pick up a copy of your book.
Well, they can get my book on Amazon. It's available, or if they'd like one autographed, they can order it through my website. My website is createdlife.com. You can reach me with my email, which is, let's go with contact@createdlife.com. And or the Facebook. I'm on all kinds of social media. Just, just Google me, you'll find me.
Well, we are going to Google you, we're going to love on you, and we're going to enjoy the 9-year-old that you still aspire to be. Brains, I bring you the best and the brightest. I bring you the most sensible people. I don't try to bring you, nothing too way out. Well, yeah, I take that back. Sometimes I
You got me.
sometimes I take you way out there. But you know what? That's to reel you back in, because I want you to have a sense of balance. And sometimes I want you to be off balance, because then that way you understand what it is to be left, what it is to be right, and what it is to be centered. And we're centered here on the edge. I want to thank you so much, Deborah Beatty, for being here on the edge with me and my brains. You've really kind of elevated us to another level. And Brains, I want you to contact her, purchase a copy of her book, go in, like, love, and subscribe to On the Edge with April Mahoney, to the podcast. Subscribe, tell a friend, check it out. Come on, be a guest. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much, Deborah. You are a queen.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
All right. Be good to yourself, Brains.